The light at noon is unforgiving, a bright vertical glare that presses down from above and leaves no shadows to hide in. And I stand in the middle of my kitchen with my hands braced against the counter, my head bowed, my breath coming shallow and fast. And I realize that somewhere between sunrise and this moment, I have completely unraveled. The day has been moving too quickly, demanding too much, pulling me in every direction at once. And I have been trying so hard to keep up, to manage it all, to hold everything together with sheer willpower and caffeine, and the stubborn refusal to admit that I am drowning. But now, in this bright midday hour when the sun is at its highest and the world around me is spinning at full speed, I feel the truth settling into my bones like a weight I can no longer carry. I am exhausted, not just tired, but depleted in a way that sleep cannot fix, worn down to a fragile thread that feels like it might snap at any moment. My to-do list is endless, my responsibilities are crushing, and the noise inside my head is so loud that I cannot hear myself think anymore. I have been running since the moment my feet hit the floor this morning, moving from task to task without pause, without breath, without a single moment to just be still. And now I am standing here in the harsh brightness of noon, realizing that I have nothing left to give. The morning started early, too early, with alarms and urgency and the immediate pressure of everything that needed to be done. I hit the ground running, moving through my routine on autopilot, checking things off my mental list, responding to messages, making decisions, solving problems, and all the while feeling the weight of expectation pressing down on my shoulders. There were phone calls that needed to be made, appointments that could not be missed, responsibilities that demanded my attention, and people who needed me to be present, capable, and strong. I smiled when I was supposed to smile, said the right things at the right times, kept moving forward even when my body was begging me to slow down, because that is what I do. I am the one who holds it together, the one who keeps going, the one who does not break. Except that somewhere between then and now, I started to crack. It was subtle at first, just a flicker of irritation, a momentary tightness in my chest, a sense that I was stretching myself too thin. But as the hours wore on, the pressure built, layer upon layer, until it became this heavy, suffocating thing that I could not shake. Every email felt like another demand. Every conversation felt like another drain on my energy. Every little interruption felt like one more straw on a back that was already bent too far. By the time the clock struck noon, I was barely holding on. My mind was racing, jumping from one worry to the next, replaying conversations, anticipating problems, trying to stay 3 steps ahead of the chaos. My body was tight, my shoulders knotted with tension, my jaw clenched so hard that my teeth ached. I felt like I was vibrating with stress, my nervous system stuck in overdrive, and no matter how much I tried to calm down, to breathe, to focus, I could not seem to find solid ground. The world around me was moving at its usual frantic pace, people rushing past, phones ringing, notifications pinging, the constant hum of activity that never stops. And I was supposed to keep up with all of it. I was supposed to be productive, efficient, capable, but instead I felt like I was coming apart at the seams. I wanted to scream or cry or just disappear for a while, but there was no time for any of that. There was only the relentless forward motion, the endless list of things that needed to be done, and the crushing realization that I was not enough to do it all. So I stood there in my kitchen, gripping the counter like it was the only thing keeping me upright, and I let the truth wash over me. I am overwhelmed. I am tired. I am scared that I am going to fail, that I am going to let people down, that I am going to crack under the pressure, and everyone will see that I am not as strong as they think I am. I am afraid that I am not enough, that I will never be enough, that no matter how hard I try or how much I give, it will never be sufficient. The fear sits heavy in my chest, making it hard to breathe, and the exhaustion wraps around me like a fog, clouding my thoughts and making everything feel harder than it should be. I want to be strong. I want to be capable. I want to rise to every challenge with grace and confidence. But right now, in this moment, I feel like I am falling apart. The day has broken me, and I do not know how to put myself back together. The light from the window is too bright, spilling across the countertop and illuminating every little mess, every unfinished task, every reminder of all the things I have not yet managed to accomplish. The brightness feels harsh, almost accusatory, as if even the sunlight is demanding something from me. I close my eyes against it, trying to find some semblance of peace in the darkness behind my eyelids. But even there, my mind refuses to quiet. Thoughts swirl and collide, a chaotic tangle of worries and regrets and endless mental checklists. I think about the conversation I had this morning that did not go well, the way I snapped at someone I care about because I was already stretched too thin. I think about the deadlines looming, the obligations I have committed to, the expectations I'm trying to meet. I think about how tired I am, how empty I feel, how much I wish I could just stop for a moment and catch my breath. But stopping feels impossible, like a luxury I cannot afford, because the world does not pause for exhaustion. And there is always something more that needs to be done. And yet, even as I stand here in the middle of my unraveling, something inside me knows that I cannot keep going like this. I cannot keep pushing through on fumes and willpower alone. I cannot keep pretending that I am fine when I am so clearly not fine. I have reached my breaking point, that fragile edge where everything inside me is screaming for relief, for rest, for something to give. My heart is pounding too hard. My breath is too shallow. And there is a tightness in my throat that feels like tears. I do not have time to cry. I feel vulnerable and exposed, like all my carefully constructed defenses have crumbled and left me standing here with nothing to hide behind. I am at the end of myself, and I do not know what to do. So I do the only thing I can think of. I stop. Not because I have finished everything, not because I have earned a break, not because it is convenient or practical, but because I physically cannot take another step. I let my grip on the counter soften, let my shoulders drop, let my head hang heavy, and I just stand there in the bright midday light, admitting defeat. I whisper into the silence, my voice cracked and small, barely more than a breath. Lord, I cannot do this anymore. I cannot carry this weight. I cannot keep pretending that I am strong enough. I am tired, and I am scared, and I do not know how to keep going. I need you. I need you to step in, to take this burden, to give me something I cannot give myself. I need you to interrupt this chaos and bring me peace. And as the words leave my lips, something shifts. It is subtle at first, almost imperceptible, like the gentlest change in the atmosphere. The frantic energy that has been buzzing inside me begins to quiet, just slightly, just enough for me to notice. My heartbeat, which has been racing all morning, starts to slow, finding a steadier rhythm. My breath, which has been trapped high and tight in my chest, begins to deepen, filling my lungs more fully. The noise inside my head, that relentless chatter of worry and anxiety, begins to soften, the volume turning down degree by degree. It is as if time itself is slowing, the world around me fading into the background, and all that remains is this quiet, sacred space between me and God. I feel His presence drawing near, not with fanfare or drama, but with a tender, steady certainty that wraps around me like a warm embrace. He is here, in the middle of my breaking point, in the midst of my exhaustion and overwhelm. He is here. I sense His voice, not audible but unmistakable, speaking into the deepest part of my heart. Come to me, He whispers, and the words land like cool water on parched ground. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. The invitation is so simple, so achingly kind, and it undoes something inside me. I realize that I have been trying so hard to do everything on my own, to be self-sufficient and capable, to prove that I can handle whatever life throws at me. But He is not asking me to be strong. He is not demanding that I keep pushing through. He is inviting me to rest, to lay down the weight I have been carrying, to stop striving and simply be with Him. The relief that floods through me is almost overwhelming, a release of tension I did not even realize I was holding. I do not have to do this alone. I do not have to carry this burden by myself. He is here, and he is strong enough to hold what I cannot. Be still, he says, and the words settle over me like a blanket, warm and comforting. Be still and know that I am God. I let the truth of that sink in. Let it quiet the frantic spinning of my thoughts. I do not have to have all the answers right now. I do not have to solve every problem or meet every expectation. I can be still. I can trust that he is in control, that he sees me, that he knows what I need even before I ask. The pressure that has been building all day begins to ease, the tightness in my chest loosening, the knot in my shoulders unwinding. I feel my body relaxing, the tension draining away, and I take a deep, full breath, the first real breath I have taken all day. The air fills my lungs, and I hold it for a moment, savoring the simple act of breathing before letting it out slowly, releasing the stress and worry along with it. The light in the room seems different now, softer somehow, less harsh. It no longer feels like an interrogation lamp exposing every flaw and failure, but more like the gentle glow of a presence that is kind and welcoming. I open my eyes and look around, and everything appears slightly altered, as if I am seeing it through a new lens. The clutter on the counter is still there. The dishes still need to be done. The responsibilities still exist, but they no longer feel insurmountable. They are just tasks, just things to be dealt with in their time, and they do not define me or determine my worth. What matters in this moment is not what I have accomplished or failed to accomplish, but the simple truth that I am held, that I am loved, that I am not alone. God's peace begins to wrap around me like a covering, like a soft cloak that shields me from the harshness of the world. It is not a peace that comes from having everything figured out or having all my problems solved. It is a peace that exists in spite of the chaos, a supernatural calm that defies logic and circumstance. It is the peace that Jesus spoke of, the peace that surpasses all understanding, the peace that guards my heart and mind even when everything around me is falling apart. I feel it settling into my bones, replacing the anxiety with stillness, the fear with trust, the exhaustion with a quiet strength that is not my own. This is what I have been searching for all day, what I have been desperately needing without even knowing how to name it. Not more time, not fewer responsibilities, not a different set of circumstances, but simply this: his presence, his peace, his gentle interruption of my downward spiral. I realize now that I had been trying to manage my life like it was a machine. Like if I just worked hard enough and planned well enough and stayed in control, everything would be fine. But life is not a machine, and I am not meant to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I am human, finite, limited, and there is no shame in that. God did not create me to be invincible or self-sufficient. He created me to need him, to depend on him, to find my strength in his strength and my peace in his presence. And when I finally stopped trying to hold it all together and admitted that I could not do it on my own, that is when he stepped in. That is when he interrupted my chaos with his calm, my overwhelm with his order, my breaking point with his sustaining grace. I think about all the times I have pushed through exhaustion because I thought I had to. All the times I have ignored my own needs because there was too much to be done. All the times I have measured my worth by my productivity and my capability. And I realize how wrong I have been, how much I have missed by refusing to pause, by refusing to rest, by refusing to let God carry what I was never meant to carry. He is not waiting for me to earn his help by working myself into the ground. He is inviting me to come to him right now, in the middle of my mess, in the middle of my exhaustion, in the middle of my failure to keep it all together. He is not disappointed in me for reaching my breaking point. He is compassionate, tender, ready to give me exactly what I need. As I stand here in this sacred pause, I feel the weight of the day beginning to lift. Not because my circumstances have changed, but because my perspective has shifted. I am no longer trying to do everything in my own strength. I am no longer carrying the burden alone. I have handed it over to God, laid it at His feet, and asked Him to take it from me. And He has. I can feel the difference. The lightness that comes from letting go. The freedom that comes from trusting that He will provide what I cannot. My mind, which was racing with 1,000 different thoughts just moments ago, is now quiet, focused, clear. I can think without the fog of anxiety clouding everything. I can breathe without the tightness of panic constricting my chest. I can be present in this moment without being pulled in a dozen different directions. The stillness that God has brought into my day is not passive or empty. It is rich and full, a deep well of peace that I can draw from as I move forward. It is the kind of rest that renews, that restores, that equips me to face whatever comes next. I do not have to be afraid of the rest of the day anymore. I do not have to dread the tasks that are still waiting or worry about whether I will be able to handle them. I know that I am not facing them alone. God is with me. His presence, a constant source of strength and comfort, and that changes everything. I can walk back into the busyness of life, not with the frantic energy of someone who is barely holding on, but with the calm confidence of someone who knows she is held. I think of the hours that remain, the afternoon and evening that stretch ahead, and I no longer see them as a gauntlet to be survived. I see them as opportunities to walk in the peace that God has given me, to carry His calm into every conversation and task and decision. I do not have to perform or prove myself. I do not have to be perfect or have it all together. I just have to show up, do what I can, and trust that God will fill in the gaps. He will give me the words when I do not know what to say. He will give me the energy when I feel like I have nothing left. He will give me the wisdom when I am faced with decisions I do not know how to make. He will be my peace when the chaos tries to pull me back under. This is what it means to rely on Him, to let His strength be made perfect in my weakness, to find rest not in the absence of work, but in the presence of His Spirit. I whisper a prayer of gratitude, my heart full even as my body is tired. Thank you, Lord, for interrupting my day. Thank you for stepping in when I reached my breaking point and giving me exactly what I needed. Thank you for your peace that does not depend on my circumstances, for your strength that sustains me when mine runs out, for your presence that never leaves me even when I feel alone. Thank you for reminding me that I do not have to carry everything on my own, that I can come to you and find rest, that I can be still and know that you are God. Thank you for being gentle with me, for not shaming me for my exhaustion or my struggle, for meeting me right where I am and lifting me up. I do not deserve this kindness, this grace, this overwhelming love, but you give it freely, abundantly, without hesitation. You see me, you know me, and you love me anyway. That truth changes everything. As I step away from the counter and move back into the rhythm of the day, I carry this moment with me. I carry the memory of His presence, the feeling of His peace, the assurance of His love. The day is not over. The demands have not disappeared. The responsibilities still exist, but I am different. I am renewed. I am anchored not in my own ability to manage and control, but in His steady, unfailing faithfulness. When the noise gets loud again, I will remember this stillness. When the pressure builds, I will remember this release. When I start to feel overwhelmed, I will remember that I can come back to this place, that I can pause, that I can invite God to interrupt my chaos once more. He is always ready, always willing, always near. I think about the beauty of this midday moment, this unexpected gift of grace in the middle of an ordinary, overwhelming day. It was not planned or scheduled. It was born out of desperation, out of reaching the end of myself and having nowhere else to turn. And yet it has become sacred, a turning point, a reminder that God meets us not just in the mountaintop moments or the carefully curated quiet times, but in the messy, exhausting, breaking point moments when we need Him most. He does not wait for us to clean ourselves up or get it together. He steps into our chaos, our exhaustion, our vulnerability, and he brings peace. He brings rest. He brings himself. And that is more than enough. I feel my breath steadying, my heart settling, my mind clearing. The light from the window no longer feels harsh but warm, a reminder that even in the brightness of midday, even when everything is exposed and there is nowhere to hide, God's presence is a shelter. His peace is a refuge. His love is a covering. I do not have to be afraid of being seen in my weakness, because he sees me and loves me anyway. I do not have to pretend that I have it all together, because he knows the truth and he does not turn away. He draws near. He interrupts. He restores. And so I move forward into the rest of this day, not in my own strength, but in his. Not with anxiety, but with peace. Not with fear, but with trust. I have been interrupted by grace, and everything has changed. The chaos is still there. The world is still spinning. The demands are still pressing, but I am no longer crushed by them. I am held. I am loved. I am at peace. And that peace, that supernatural, unexplainable peace that only God can give, is what will carry me through. Not my effort, not my willpower, not my ability to keep it all together, but his presence, his power, his promise that he will never leave me or forsake me. He interrupted my day with peace, and I will carry that peace with me into every moment, every task, every challenge that lies ahead. I am not alone. I am not abandoned. I am not forgotten. I am his, and he is mine. And in that truth, I find everything I need. You interrupted my chaos. I whisper one more time, my voice steady now, my heart calm, and you brought me peace. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for being my refuge, my strength, my ever-present help in times of trouble. Thank you for this midday mercy, this sacred pause, this gift of your presence. I rest in you now, and for the remainder of this day, trusting that your peace will guard my heart and mind, that your strength will uphold me, and that your love will never let me go.